Scientific research is fundamentally about error correction. For your research to be eligible for publication, it has to be correcting for some error in previous research. Luckily for you and for me and for all of us in research, everything has errors in it. Let me explain. Science is a unique discipline where the entire record of scientific research is essentially documenting a long list of mistakes of research and theories that came before. It's a very humble discipline in this way. Scientists are not hiding their mistakes. Actually, the whole point of the game is to identify errors and correct for them. Einstein was correcting for the errors in Newton's work. Quantum mechanics was correcting for the errors in classical mechanics. Darwin's theory of evolution corrected for the static theory of species. You get the picture. Scientific progress doesn't come from tearing everything down and starting again. Scientific progress doesn't come from demolition, but correction. It's more like the biggest game of Jenga you ever played. The point is not to knock the whole thing down, the point is to find the weak bits and amend them. But in order to correct errors, we first have to be able to identify errors. So how do we identify errors? This is the most important thing for making your work publishable. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell you how to spot mistakes. Everyone and anyone can do that. I suppose what I'm wanting to encourage you to do is to spot the really big mistakes. If you could imagine a tree of errors where the leaves and branches represent small mistakes, but the further down the tree you go, the bigger, the more important errors become. These are your kind of root errors. We can think of these as root errors. And these deep-rooted errors are generally found in theories that seek to explain a set of results. As soon as we have found an explanation for something, we can normally improve on that explanation. And there are good explanations, and there are bad explanations. Good explanations are precise, they are hard to vary, and they offer specific predictions. Bad explanations are easy to vary, and therefore don't actually explain very much. It's the difference between a crystallized diamond lattice structure and a sandcastle. One of those is going to hold up under pressure, and the other is a sandcastle. Whenever a scientific paper is published with a set of results, the author will normally seek to explain why those results have occurred in the discussion. This is where you need to focus when you're looking for ideas for your research. You can look across multiple papers and see whether you think the explanations they provide are good explanations. Do they make sense? Are they hard to vary? Or could there be confounding variables that the authors haven't thought of? If you think you get the idea, then feel free to skip over this bit. But for those who need a clear example of how to identify errors in explanations, hear me out. The example I'm going to give is from the cognitive development literature, specifically about the paradigm of block construction. This is when babies, toddlers and children, it's normally toddlers and children, babies can't do much, use Lego blocks to build structures. Essentially, you give someone a set of blocks, an image of a model structure to build, and their goal is to build the model using the blocks they have. It's a measure of spatial reasoning, and spatial reasoning is a very good predictor of success in science, technology, engineering and math careers, STEM careers. The question the researchers had was simple: what strategies do children use during block construction? A lot of papers at the time explained the results they had by saying people used a bottom-to-top layering approach. There were three issues with this explanation of their results. The first was that this explanation didn't actually explain very much. Anyone can build a structure from bottom to top using a layering approach, but that doesn't explain how people build correct structures. Remember, in this game, individuals have to build the model presented to them in the image provided, so just taking a bottom to top layering approach could easily result in an incorrect structure rather than a correct one. The second issue was the data set that the researchers had used. They had removed all the incorrect moves that children made and were analysing a data set of only the correct actions. Again, removing the errors in this way meant that any explanation they came up with would not explain how people solve these problems, because the errors were being avoided. And the third issue was that the researchers had used the same set of model structures across all of their papers. This meant that if there was a confound in the architecture of their Lego block structures, their results might actually just be an artifact of their model structures and not informing us about how children solve these problems more generally. So then what? You've noticed these errors in the current research. How do you correct for them? Well, the main thing to notice in this example is the difference between the problem the researchers are trying to solve and the method they use to solve it. The problem is how people solve these Lego block puzzles. Anything that involves problem solving will involve some differences between correct and incorrect actions, but the researchers removed all these incorrect actions and only analysed the dataset of correct actions. They did this because they justified that the dataset that included incorrect actions was intractable or too difficult to compute, but this meant their dataset and their subsequent explanation is limited for what it can actually explain. The way to correct this error? This is what I did in my master's research project, and since it's not been published yet, we'll save the results for another day. So why does everything have errors in it? Why can't there be any exceptions? Or if you do your research well enough, will you be able to be the exception to the rule? To be honest, I don't know why everything has errors in it. I just know that this is the way things work in our universe. Going really broad here. All explanatory knowledge can be improved upon in some way. This idea is not mine. It comes up in other books, for example, David Deutsch's book, At the Beginning of Infinity. At some point in the future, errors will be found in big theories like Einstein's theory of relativity or Darwin's theory of evolution. And for the perfectionists out there, I think this can be quite liberating. There's no such thing as being perfect. We can produce scientific research that is far better than anything that came before us, but that research will still be improved upon in the future. It's a hopeful message, and it means that if we can embrace errors, then we can continue to progress. So don't take anything for granted. Even the most popular and well-cited theories in your field will have some errors in them. If you can find those errors and design experiments that correct for those errors, then that's the stuff that will guarantee you'll get published in the future. Thank you so much for listening.